What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans. Please hit that like button. More likes, more hooligans. Give me a second to read through the chat really quick. Make sure everybody is doing good. Make sure everything's running smoothly, and we'll go over the schedule. What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Kevin? What's up, Shanti? What's up, Raja? What's up, Johnny? What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Lusk? What's up, Haywood? What's up, Damon Walker? What's up, Ghost? Happy Freedom, hooligans. What's up, Mike Drop? What's up, Snooks? Happy Freedom. What's up, Captain Seamus? What is up, everyone? Alright, just a moment. What's up, everyone on the JeffMAC Live YouTube channel? What's up, Alyssa? Appreciate you being here. What's up, Sean? What's up, everyone on Twitch? What's up, everyone on Odyssey? What's up, Honk Honk? Happy Freedom, hooligans. What's up, everyone on Rumble? We have more people on Rumble than YouTube for the first time. That's pretty wild. What's up, Rasta? What's up, Ghostly? What's up, Serum? What's up, Martha Star? What's up, Drew? What's up, Jeb? What's up, English? Happy Freedom, hooligans. What's up, everyone watching on JeffMacLive.com? Alright, so today we're going to be covering a video that is titled State Representative Comey Arrested, Charged with OUI After Crash Near State Capitol. And we have a video that is titled Missouri Sheriff, 2 deputies charged in alleged plot to kidnap a child. Then we have a video that is titled Scratched EV Battery, Insurer May Junk the Car. Those EV cars are crazy. I don't see what's so great about them at this point. Then we have a video that is titled Old Man Walter and the First Lady host a reception celebrating Nowruz, N-O-W-R-U-Z. I don't know what it is. That video is kind of long, but we're going to skip over all the musical parts. They have people playing instruments and stuff, and we'll hear enough of it. We'll say that. We're going to hear enough of it, and then we'll skip over it. We'll wrap that up, and then we will be moving to the White House Press Briefing, which was super spicy today. I really hope it doesn't cause me problems. We're going to try and watch it on YouTube. Hopefully we will be fine. It is super spicy. Simon has had enough. I've been following him on Twitter, and he has had enough of being censored in the press briefing room, and he a couple times yelled over everybody, and it's amazing. Then we'll be cutting YouTube off and continuing on with all the free speech platforms to cover a video that is titled, well, a Tucker Carlson video, we'll say that. Then we have another video that is I don't want to say it's fake, but it's a protest video for the Orange Eagle, but it's years old. It's like from 2015 or something like that, but it's being pushed around like this is happening right now, which it's not. And then Right Side Broadcasting is live with protests going on in New York City in Lower Manhattan right now. And the faster we can get through everything, the faster we're going to be moving to the live protest videos. But it's only going to be on the free speech platform, so make sure you guys head over to Odyssey, Rumble, or JeffMacLive.com. You could always wait until we get to that point, but all the good stuff is most likely going to be shown on the free speech platform. So that's what's going on today. Sorry it's so late. Spent the entire day at the courthouse. Things are not going great. I'm not in trouble or anything like that, but somebody in my life decided they wanted to get on welfare, and the court wants to know if I want to pick up the slack because this other person just doesn't want to go to work, doesn't want to make enough money to support those that need to be supported for their responsibility. Again, I'm the only one doing the thing that's supposed to be done. I'm the only one doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Of course, the court comes from me. Okay. So if I seem stressed, that's why. This stress is not going to go away. It's going to hover over me for the next 6 months or more, maybe even longer, maybe indefinitely. I don't know. Hopefully I survive this. Only time will tell. So give me a second to pull up this video. I'm going to read through the chat really quick to make sure everybody is doing good, and we'll get this started. Happy freedom, Pamela. What's up, Impreza? Happy freedom, you hooligans. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you rack up them likes. Let's get a full house here. What's up, Beer Juice? I can't believe everybody on Rumble. I can't believe we got more people on Rumble than anywhere else. That's wild. That's crazy sauce. I appreciate you guys. What's up, Captain Seamus? Happy freedom. All right, let's get this started, hooligans.
6.
Well, a state lawmaker has been arrested for driving drunk, and tonight there's plenty of action and reaction. I'm Irene O'Connor.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Simone. Democratic Representative Robin Comey has been stripped of her committee assignments, and state lawmakers say this was a dangerous situation.
Chief political reporter Susan Raff is live near the state capitol in Hartford, where that crash happened. Susan?
Irene, we are live on Capitol Avenue, and this is right down the street from the state capitol, and this is where State Representative Robin Comey crashed her car. And according to the police report and eyewitnesses, when she hit that green dumpster, her car ended up upside down. This eyewitness video shows Representative Robin Comey's car right after it flipped over.
So I got up to see, and I saw an overturned car.
Kirsten Blandon heard the crash from her apartment across the street.
And I actually got footage of them pulling her out of the car.
According to the police report, Comey didn't want to go to the hospital. She was then given sobriety tests at the scene. Police say she failed those tests and was handcuffed and arrested. They say her blood alcohol was almost twice the legal limit.
Representative Comey votes yes.
Earlier in the day, Comey had been at a public hearing. She's on the Human Services Committee. Then we are told she went to Red Rock, a bar down the street from the state capitol. She was there with a few state lawmakers. One of them told me that Comey seemed fine. But then, shortly after leaving the bar, Comey crashed into this dumpster. The House Speaker says my immediate reaction is to think about Rep. Comey's next steps. I hope she focuses on her health and well-being. And I know that her friends and colleagues will support her in any way we can. And the House Minority Leader says while I'm thankful that Representative Comey didn't hurt anyone else or herself in this crash, the stark reality is that this incident could have easily been devastating for her and anyone else on the road last night. This is not the first time Comey has been in the spotlight for drinking. 2 years ago, she appeared disoriented while speaking on the House floor. She later apologized, saying she was exhausted and had wine during dinner.
So it's very sad that, she would put someone else in danger and herself.
This is certainly not the first time that a state lawmaker has been arrested for driving drunk, but it does come at a pretty explosive time. In fact, Connecticut is seeing a huge increase in people drinking and driving. In fact, Connecticut is now third in the country with alcohol-related fatalities. We did reach out to Representative Comey and her attorney, but we have not heard back. We are live tonight in Hartford. Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, I don't know if Nancy Pelosi is that person's idol or what. It's definitely not the first political leader, we'll say, to be drunk and staggering around thinking they're better than everybody else. We see it all the time. This crazy person had to be pulled out of a flipped car. She'd probably say, I'm not drunk. It was an accident. One of those dang extremist MAGA supporters ran by and flipped my car over. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the Orange Eagle. He did it. Stupid. People are so stupid. Let's see. Thank you so much, Miss Gina, for continuing the membership program for 26 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ball, for continuing the membership program for 13 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you. Thank you. You guys are awesome. All right, so this next video is titled Missouri Sheriff and 2 deputies charged in alleged plot to kidnap a child. The world has gone crazy. The world's been crazy. Now we're just descending into hell. All right, hooligans, let's get it started.
Here in the small town of Ironton all day and evening, the big news has definitely been the arrest of the sheriff and several others here at this sheriff's office.
I hope it steps up and do what they're actually supposed to do for once.
You don't believe the allegations?
No.
Jeff Burkett has been the Iron County Sheriff for just over 2 years, but now he, Under Sheriff Chase Bresnahan, and Deputy Matt Kozad are accused of helping a citizen, Donald Rick Gaston, kidnap his daughter, involving Gaston and the mother of his child. Detectives with the Missouri State Highway Patrol say the parental kidnapping scheme occurred last month. The 4 suspects each face multiple charges, including criminal street gang activities, conspiracy to commit felonies, stalking, misusing 911, obtaining criminal history, first-degree attempted kidnapping, and making a false police report.
I will back the sheriff 100%.
People in the small town of 9,500 have mixed reactions to the arrest of the sheriff and other law enforcement officers.
He's a great guy. He wouldn't lie. He wouldn't do anything that would jeopardize him in his job.
Definitely skeptical of the integrity of the place at this point.
In a statement, the sheriff's attorney says, quote, Iron County is run by a group of good old boys. Sheriff Burkett poses a serious threat to their unchecked authority and will continue to fight their ongoing 2-year attempt to remove him from office. The attorney added, quote, I wonder what they're afraid of finding. We were there when a tow truck driver returned the sheriff's patrol car to the sheriff's office. Meantime, Iron County Coroner Tim Harbison will act as sheriff.
We've got a good plan in place today, but let everybody just let the system work out.
And as of right now, all 4 suspects are locked up in jail in Washington County. In Iron County, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
It's crazy. They did not really break down the details. It could be as bad as actually trying to plot against kidnap somebody, or it could be as mild as just simply not following court-ordered parenting time and stuff like that. And if an officer gets involved in a civil matter like that, it can be considered kidnapping. Just like if you're detained without reason, it's technically kidnapping. If you got a good lawyer, you can sue them for kidnapping. It's hard to say. It's hard to say at this point. The world is so messed up. You never know. It could be really bad people. It could be just a misunderstanding. It's kind of hard to say. Grey Wolf can't get on Rumble. I don't know why you guys have trouble getting on Rumble. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I've talked to Rumble. They said it's you guys. Every time I click on the links, they work. I don't know. There's people that just go there and search for me and they can find me. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. There's some sort of disconnect that I can't figure out. It's there though. It's there. We're live. I don't know. You guys should be watching on JeffMacLive.com anyways. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. What's up, Adrian? Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. What's up, 2 Ruby Shoes? Happy freedom. What's up, Brian? I don't know who that person is. I didn't even know they had ads on Odyssey. Well, I guess I pay for premium or whatever, so I guess I wouldn't see ads. What's up, Cybo? What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom, hooligans. What's up, Road Dog? Happy freedom. Captain Seamus, our local police chief, got fired last week. No notice, no prior issue. Wonder what he did. Maybe he was doing the right thing. Maybe, you never know. Everybody's so corrupt now. It's hardcore. What can you even do about it? What do you do when all the corrupt people are more violent than you? Sit there and take it, I guess. I don't even know. It's hard to find good people. The way it is right now, it is hard to find good people. What's up, Annie? Are you okay? Happy freedom. Yeah, I don't know why people are having issues getting to Rumble. I don't know. The links work for me. I even posted like a coded link on the link tree. So I don't know why people can't find me on Rumble. I'm not sure. Alright, so this next video is titled Scratched EV Battery Insurer May Junk the Car. Alright, hooligans, let's get her started.
Scratched the battery on your new electric vehicle, even slightly, then your car may be a write-off. That's because in many EVs there is no way to fix or assess even lightly damaged battery packs. The problem has forced insurance companies to write off cars with few miles on the clock, leading to higher premiums. It also undercuts the green case for EVs if they have to be junked after any incident. Battery packs can cost tens of thousands of dollars and make up half of an EV's price tag. Both Ford and General Motors say they have made battery packs easier to repair, but market leader Tesla has taken the opposite approach with its Model Y. Experts warned its new structural battery pack has, quote, zero repairability. Tesla did not respond to a request for comment. A Reuters search of EV salvage sales in the US and Europe showed a large portion of low-mileage Teslas. Major brands like Nissan and Hyundai were also present. EVs make up a small fraction of vehicles on the road, and that makes industry-wide data hard to come by. But the trend of low-mileage, zero-emission cars being written off with minor damage is growing. Insurers and experts say that Tesla and other car makers need to make changes. They want to see more repairable battery packs and third-party access to battery cell data. Otherwise, they warn, insurance premiums will just keep on going up as EV sales continue to grow.
I don't know about those EVs. They seem all nice and flashy and stuff, but I see so much bad stuff with them that I don't see what makes them worthwhile. They catch on fire. They're super expensive to repair, if even possible to repair. Now they're saying that if you mess the battery up, they can't even repair it. They're just going to total your car. There's a lot of places that have trouble working on it. When I was getting my car worked on last, I was inquiring about how difficult it was to switch out this part on my car that took quite some time. And they had told me that the hardest thing they've had to do recently was tow a Tesla. That the battery had died and you can't tow it because it's four-wheel drive, so it's all the wheels are locked up, and when the battery's dead you can't access the car. So they had to do all kinds of weird stuff, popping panel off and finding emergency stuff to be able to unlock the door. And then once you do that, you have to, he said it's like Legos. You have to pop all these pieces off just to get to the point where you can disengage the gears so it will roll freely, so they could either tow it or put it up on a flatbed. Otherwise, they would have to drag it on the tires. I don't hear anything good about those cars. I've seen so many videos where people are in the interior and the dashboards creak and squeak and all the paneling creaks and squeaks and it's not lined up correctly. It's like pulling a toy out of a cereal box, except it costs you $30,000-$40,000. I don't know. I don't see what's so great about them. They're flashy. That's about it though. I don't see anything else. What's up, Tan Blue? Happy freedom. What's up, CB? C Bravo. I'll stick with my Mercury. Yeah, I don't know. They gotta work on those EVs if they want all of us to be driving them and stuff. Robin, links don't work in the chat, so the link you're referencing never made it to the chat. Happy Freedom Indigo. What's up, USA Forever? Appreciate you guys being here. Red Wagon, just buy a new one. That's what they want people to do. Yeah, except everyone's suffering. It's cheaper for me to buy steak than it is to buy chicken at this point. I can get steak for like $4 for about a pound of steak, or I can get a pound of chicken for like $13. It's like, what a world to live in. I mean, I don't mind. I like eating steak when I can afford it, but when steak is cheaper than chicken, you know something's going on. What's up, Patton? Happy freedom. Hong Kong. Oh, for racing. I've seen a lot of racing stuff that has to do with like those Teslas and stuff, like the plaid mode and all that. They're cool for that kind of stuff, but for the average person and just trying to have an everyday vehicle, I don't think they're better than buying like a Honda or a Toyota or something like that. Just reading through the comments real quick. Tam, make sure it's real meat. Yeah, that's the other thing, is you got to read the packs. Like when you get chicken, most of the time it's not even, most of the time it's got pork in it, or soy. It's got soy filler. Like if you get those Tyson chicken strip things that are already breaded and all that, half that stuff is soy. Half that stuff is filler. That's why when you bite into it, it's like just the very middle looks like chicken and all the rest of it looks like breading. It's because it's packed full of soy just to make them girthy. That's what she said. All right, hold on a second. Annie, are you okay? Everybody in Vegas has a Tesla, down to the Uber drivers, but I refuse to conform. Yeah, I've never even seen an Uber driver. There's no Uber here. There's no Uber. There's no Uber Eats or whatever food delivery. There's none of that here. If you came here, you would think it was like early 2000s. People are still wearing bell bottoms and stuff. People got flip phones. Yeah, probably listening to Britney Spears. Alright, so this next video is the first of our 2 White House videos. This first one is Old Man Walter and Jill Handler hosting a reception celebrating Nowruz or something. It's Nowruz. I don't know what it is. They're celebrating every holiday in the world. I don't know, but I'm trying to think how to explain this. There's going to be a part in the middle where people are sitting around playing instruments and they're like Grammy Award winning artists or whatever. We're going to skip through that because we have a lot of stuff to cover today, and there is protesting going on in New York that Right Side Broadcasting is covering, and I would like to get to that. The press briefing itself is an hour long, and that's next. So when we get to the musical instrument part, we're going to just kind of skip ahead and just get that all wrapped up. And then we'll be covering the White House press briefing. Then we'll be doing the spiel deal. Then we're going to cut off YouTube. Then we're going to continue on with the live streaming platforms. And we have 2 different videos to cover. Oh no, we have a video to cover, an article to cover that's about a PSYOP. And then we will move on to the Right Side Broadcasting live of the protest going on. It's not very big from what I understand, but we should still cover it. let's get it started, hooligans.
Distinguished guests, the President of the United States and Dr. Biden, accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel Jasmine Mokbeli.
Prostitute.
Are they friend or foe? Make America great again.
Hello, welcome to the White House. And Eid Shoma Mubarak. For the feeling of peace, for the sun after these long nights, for women, life and freedom. Freedom for freedom for freedom. Those lyrics are so powerful, aren't they? Yes. When I first heard Baraye, I was stunned by the courage of this song and the women it lifts up. Karine Jean-Pierre was arrested, but not before his video was seen 40 million times in 2 days. Not before his music became an anthem for freedom sung in the streets. And that's why in February, I was so honored to announce that Karine had won a Grammy. And earlier this month, here in this room, we recognized the bravery of...
Look at these idiots taking selfies in the lower right corner.
...at the International Women of Courage Awards. Today, as the battle cry of women, life, freedom continues to reverberate around the world, we cannot celebrate the renewal of spring without thinking of them. This new year, they too should be surrounded by support and kindness. So to the girls and the women of Iran, I want to say, your song sings in our hearts. We see your struggle and we stand with you. You are not alone. Their courage is reflected in everyone who celebrates this holiday. And so together, we plant our hopes on the half-seen table, weaving them among the sprouts of wheat or lentils, watering them with visions of victories we seek this new year. Like seeds breaking through the earth, our hopes reach towards each shining sunrise. Nourished by the healing that we find together, our love for one another, the wisdom gained from the year now finished, and the patience we learned from our ancestors. Even as we are renewed, we are rooted in the history that lives inside of us, the families who shaped us, and the shoulders on which we stand. History lives in this house as well, hammered into the beams of these walls and swirling in the marble of each fireplace. It tells the stories and legends of where we've come from and who we've been. And yet, standing here in front of a beautiful Hafseen, hearing music by DJ Danny, and as we eat incredible food prepared by Chef Nassim Ali Khani. Where are you? Where are you, Chef? I met you earlier. She must be here. Somewhere? Well, you'll eat her food a little later. We know that the White House, too, can grow and evolve and begin something new. With our unique talents and traditions, with our love and laughter, with our faith in...
Unpredictable. She's drunk. She sounds a little drunk, a little inebriated.
This is an historic house, but you make it a home, alive with purpose and possibility. So let us begin once again, be reborn in hope and healing, wisdom and love. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce astronaut and future commander of our next mission to the International Space Station, Lieutenant Colonel Jasmine Moghbeli.
They don't even know what they're cheering for. The whistling is ridiculous and severely obnoxious. Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biden.
Prostitute.
Wow. Never as a kid standing around the half scene for the Sol Tavil could I have imagined I would get to say these next words right here in the White House. Nowruz Shoma Mubarak. Nowruz means new day. It is a celebration of the arrival of spring and all the hope that comes with it. It is a holiday full of symbolism, with each element of the Haftzin, or 7 S's, being representative. Growing up, my brother and I took part in preparing the Haftzin. We would help grow the sabzeh, a symbol of rebirth and growth, which often came in the form of a chia pet in our household.
They talking about KJP?
A symbol of progress was often one that my brother or I had won at a school fair. The ayna, or mirror that we used, a symbol of self-reflection, was the same one that had been used at my parents' wedding, would eventually be used at my wedding, and now sits at my family's Haftzin table. And this year, for the first time, my daughters were able to participate as well by decorating the eggs and growing the sabzeh at our Haftzin. Last week, I went back to my elementary school and spent some time with the young students there. I remember when I was a student, my mom would come in each Nowruz and speak to my classmates about the holiday and our culture. It was at that same elementary school that my dream of someday becoming an astronaut began. While visiting, one of the students asked me, "Are you going to be the first woman to walk on the moon?" They were referring to NASA's Artemis program, which just last year completed its first test flight, Artemis 1, and will soon return astronauts to the moon, paving the way for future human missions to Mars. Thank you. I answered, simply and honestly, "I don't know, but I could be." Isn't it amazing that I could say with complete honesty, as an Iranian American woman who wasn't even born here, that I have just as much chance as anyone else of being on the Artemis 3 mission? That I've even had the opportunity to become a NASA astronaut in the first place, and that later this year, my lifelong dream of launching to space will come true, as I will have the honor of commanding the Crew 7 mission to the International Space Station. Each Nowruz, we give thanks for our blessings and look ahead to the future. Even during difficult times, we hope for renewal and transformation. Reflecting on this past year, I stand here
Old man Welch has been digging in his nose this whole time he's been on stage.
so incredibly proud to be an American.
What does astronauts do all day when they're not, flying to space? Just curious. I have no idea.
It is now one of the greatest privileges of my life to introduce someone who celebrates the many vibrant cultures and traditions that make up our nation, someone who understands the importance of taking everyone with us as we push the boundaries of exploration, that in doing so we benefit America, our beautiful planet, and those on it. Please join me in welcoming the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Yeah, touch his hand. He was just sitting there digging in his nose for like the last 10 minutes. Gross.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your house.
You didn't say that back in January.
I just want one commitment from you. When you head to Mars, you won't take Jill, so you can be gone too long. An astronaut, a Marine, a mom, a fellow American will take us to the moon, Mars, and beyond. That's America. Think about it. That's who we are. Good afternoon, everyone. As we celebrate new beginnings, Jill and I, along with Kamala and Doug, are honored to host a new national tradition. And I say a new national tradition. The first Nowruz reception on this scale ever held in the White House. And you're everything.
Yeah, blow your nose right into the microphone, you idiot.
It's a celebration.
Look at Jill all uncomfortable because she's been kissing Doug.
By millions of people around the world this very day. And the roots in ancient Persia. You know, one that was carried on by people in the gardens of Shiruz, the mountains of Kabul and Erbil, and the shores of Baku and beyond, most of which I've got a chance to visit, but I got to get to come home too. And one that has always been honored anew by diverse diaspora and communities across the United States. You know, folks, it's the start of a new year that reminds us of hope and what lies ahead from these darkest times. So many.
How many times is he gonna say it's a new year? It's March.
It comes at a difficult time for many families. Hope, where is needed more than ever, is going to be coming. Hope for families in Turkey and Syria. We're grieving for the loss of far too many loved ones from that devastating earthquake. Hope for people in Afghanistan who continue to struggle with a grave humanitarian crisis. Hope for women of Iran who are fighting for their human rights and fundamental freedoms. Isn't it amazing how young your daughters or granddaughters are, how they're moved by what they see on television? It's amazing. Thank God it's hard for them to believe. It's hard for them to believe. The United States stands with those brave women and all the citizens of Iran who are inspiring the world with their conviction, and I have to emphasize their courage, their genuine courage. And together with our partners, we're going to continue to hold Iranian officials accountable for their attacks against their people. I also want to recognize two proud Iranian Americans with us today who know better than anyone the power of holding on to hope and the possibility of a new day. Jason, where's Jason? He's back there. Jacqui and Mosiah. Look, Jason, you're both unjustly detained in Iran. Jason for 544 days. We worked very hard to bring him home when I was vice president. Thank you for both for being here today. And to all those who are unjustly detained in Iran or anywhere in the world, know that you are not forgotten and we will not stop trying to get you home. Returning wrongfully detained and people held hostage, and particularly Americans. And
like the J6ers?
For this administration. And I'm very glad to say that just today, an American aid worker, Jeff Woodkey has been released after spending 6 years hostage in a terrorist group in West Africa. He'll soon be returned with his wife and family, and we'll continue our work to bring home all Americans held hostage or unjustly detained. You know, in the 14th century, the Persian poet Hafez, said, "Out of the great need, we are holding hands and climbing. Out of the great need, we are holding hands and climbing." All around the world, wherever we need, the need is great. This holiday offers a moment for us to reach out and together to begin to climb toward a new day, one full of hope and new possibilities. I thank all of you.
They need to give him the handheld, so we're getting quieter and quieter.
Of our own country. We see it in the homemade pastries, the new presents exchange. We hear it, the sound of children banging pots and the laughs of families who've come together. And we feel it in the communities that gather to make this celebration such a joyous part of American culture, one that reflects the soul of who we are as a nation. You know, it's a soul that we also see reflected at this half scene, and I'm tempted to walk over. Anyway, the sprouts that remind us of that we can always begin anew, the vinegar that symbolizes the power of tolerance, the apple that inspires us to believe in a more beautiful and healthy future, and even the table itself, a place where we gather in unity, a place where young and old come together to honor the past and the present, a place where we may disagree and debate, but we always, there's a seat for everyone. That's America at our best. Resilient, tolerant, courageous, hopeful, diverse. That's who we are. We're the only nation in the world built on an idea. Every other nation, that's not hyperbole. Every other nation is based on things like geography, ethnicity, religion. But we're the only nation built on an idea that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, etc. We've never fully lived up to it, but we've never, ever walked away from it. And that's due in large part to the waves of immigrant families who've come from every part of the world to push our nation ever forward, renewing and reinvigorating our nation, generation after generation after generation. We see that today in this very room. Maybe you or your parents or grandparents came to America uncertain of what life would bring, but certain you and your children and grandchildren would be able to do anything.
Well, everyone who's been here for the last couple of years is uncertain of what life is going to bring, thanks to you, old man Walter.
Heritage, but also the kinds of
old geezer.
Every day in American things, soccer practice, band practice, just those special times. And all the things that make an extraordinary
special times. I can't afford chicken.
Our great nation.
What are you talking about?
Enriching the soul of this nation. Thank you for adapting old traditions anew to tell the ongoing story of America. One firmly stamped by your experiences. Let me close with this. Few periods have been more challenging to our world than the one we're going through right now. And we face an inflection point. I had a professor who said an inflection point is when you're going down the highway at 65 miles an hour and you radically turn 5 degrees to the right. You can never get back on the course you were on. Well, recent decisions points, the decisions we make today are going to determine the course of our future for the next several decades to come. Now more than ever, we need you. We need you engaged in the work of our time to help fulfill the promise of this nation. The same promise of opportunity, equality that brought you and your families here in the first place. That's what I hope for this very day, to celebrate and connect, to feel the pride of community, to keep the faith in our country. Out of a great need, we're holding hands and climbing. We have to keep climbing. I've never been more optimistic in my life about the future of this country. I mean,
says the guy who can't climb a flight of stairs.
Who in God's name we are. We are the United States of America. Nothing.
The fake wooing and whistling just kills me.
Nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. Happy Nowruz to all of you and your families, and may God bless you all.
Why does Jill clap with her fingers spread open?
A special performance for you. So we're going to get off the stage here and let you be truly entertained. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Jill claps like a toddler.
Prostitute.
Thank you so much, Prairie Wind, for that $20 donation over on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, please
let me turn this nonsense down. We're going to be cutting through this in a second. Says, I love staying informed, but it would be unbearable to watch these presentations without your commentary. I would not be able to watch this stuff without all you hooligans. This is how we all stay whole, is watching stuff like this together. This is how you get past believing the lies and the nonsense that comes out of the White House, all that lying and crying that happens. We're bulletproof as long as we're together. So you're going to hear a couple seconds of this crazy sauce, and then I'm going to cut to the end here because we don't need to sit here for a concert. We have plenty of stuff to cover. Weird, when they show the crowd, everybody's looking back at the camera, looking away from this individual on the stage.
For this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's kind of weird how the taller individual is like guiding the one holding on to the guitar banjo thing,
very, very much.
like forcefully.
You're incredible. Folks,
A little bit of communism standing there.
the Persian culture is amazing. As a student of the Persian culture, not a practitioner, but a student, it's incredible where the world is, where the world wouldn't have been without the culture. I really mean it. If you excuse me for quoting a non-Persian poet that relates to today, because I know the hope in all your hearts, your desire, I mean, it's real. You can feel it in this room.
That's what his dad said.
Faces. Those of you still have folks back there. Well, other people who have been persecuted as well have had poets that talk about their future. One of my favorite poets happens to be an Irishman named Seamus Heaney.
He just sniffed his finger and then looked disgruntled for a moment there.
And there's a stanza in the poem that I think reflects what all of you are thinking, should be thinking, and will succeed at doing.
What you should be thinking. That's interesting.
Not to hope on this side of the grave, but then, once in a lifetime, that longed-for tidal wave of justice rises up, and hope and history rhyme. It's my sincere hope. We're doing everything in our power to make that happen. It's an incredible, incredible culture, incredible people. And thank you for being here. Thank you for making
this guy's on stage crying.
All Americans, because everybody watched this. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you've done. And thank you for the incredible talent you sent. You're amazing. Did you want to say anything, Dave?
Please go and join the reception. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the White House.
You're amazing. Remember who you are.
Distinguished guests, please remain in the East Room as the principals depart. Thank you.
Is he going in for the sniff? The big sniff? Robert, he just picked his butt. My goodness. Old man Walter, I can't believe they even let him on live TV. Good stuff. Gotta bring the screaming goat in. It's kind of like eating ginger when you're eating sushi. You gotta reset the palate after that. My goodness. Daryl, she's twitching. She's probably afraid for her life. She was just shipped over here in a shipping container and pulled out by old man Walter himself. Probably paid for it with Hunter Biden's drug money. Threw her on stage, put a little makeup on her. Got the handler right there dragging her across the stage. Some sort of sacrifice to old man Walter. It's rough stuff. It's rough stuff.
Come on, man.
What's up, DeRosa? Happy Freedom. Thanks for being here. What's up, Chappie? Enterprise. Oh, let's see. Where's the message? I synced it. It sounds like a banjo. No wonder Whispers let it ride. I'm saying. He felt right at home. What's up, USA? Or U.S. Navy, I mean. Happy Freedom. Thanks for being here. Hillbilly at heart. Yeah. Everything is kind of unpredictable during these times. I think tomorrow's going to be wild. I have full intentions of covering the Orange Eagle protest going on tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I won't be able to cover it on YouTube because of all the things the protesters are going to be saying. It's pretty much all red words. It is all stuff you can't tell the truth on YouTube. You're not allowed to, not directly. You cannot be absolute with your wording and stuff. So chances are we'll go live on all platforms. I'm trying to think how we'll do this. We'll probably do Coffee with Hooligans, go through the lineup, and then we'll cover the protests on all the free speech platforms. I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow. Daryl, write a book. Yeah, if I wrote a book, they'd probably just Clinton me in a heartbeat. All the things I've seen, the things I know, oh no. They would smoke me like a Newport. Just reading through the chat really quick. We're about to start with the White House press briefing. It is super spicy. I hope that we do not get a strike for it. That would be so stupid. But, you know, that's kind of what happens. Either way, it is super spicy. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button. You share this out because people are going to want to see this. Simon he's about to lose his marbles multiple times. Like, big time. Big time. He is tired of being silenced. Annie, are you okay? Well, Hooligans, Annie, are you okay? Says you need to go over to JeffMacLive.com, get yourself a membership. You can claim a free week membership at the top of the link tree. It should also be in the description. There's no strings attached. You're not going to be charged. It shouldn't ask for your credit card or anything like that. After the week is up, you'll just lose access to the site unless you decide to subscribe. Annie, are you okay? Says that she's tired of sitting here by herself. There's people popping in and out, but she wants some people to hang out with. So definitely go check out JeffMacLive.com. All right, it's time for the White House press briefing. KJP gets on stage with a bunch of guests. I don't know who those people are, though. I have no idea who they are. I don't know if they're actors or what, but Simon just loses his mind, and I love it. And as you can see, Peter is there. I don't even know if they call on him though, the way things are. I just skimmed through it a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to hang out with all you hooligans and watch it. Just gonna read through the chat really quick and we're gonna get this started. Robert Crowder was back on Rumble today. Crowder has an exclusivity contract with Rumble. I'm not surprised that he was on Rumble today. Kevin, I'm surprised old man Walter didn't join the band. He could have rubbed his legs together and made noise. He could have been a backup singer. He could have been doing it big. He was lost. I think Jill Handler was I think that's why she took the mic from him and was like, okay, everybody just leave the room before old man Walter does any more embarrassing stuff. Just leave the room. Yeah. All right, hooligans, let's get her started.
We get SAG.
Paul, my bed is yellow. Hurry up, type in what color you think KJP is going to be wearing today. What's up, U-Town?
Oh my gosh. Hello.
Hello. Huh.
Hello. Hello. I wonder why so many people are here today.
Green got it.
Right, you're right. You're here for me. Right for me. No, that's not. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
From across the room. You've been discriminating against me and discriminating against some people in the briefing room. And I'm saying that this is the U.S., this is not China, this is not Russia. This is not Russia.
Okay.
What you are doing, you are making a monkey of the first Amendment.
Decorum, please.
It's been 7 months. You've not called on me. You've
Decorum,
not my messages. I'm saying that's not right. That's not right.
Fun times. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome to the press briefing room. Okay.
But this is not right.
Sir, let it go.
Are we ready? Are we going to behave? While many folks...
Decorum,
please. Simon.
Call her out, Simon.
Sorry to our guests. We apologize.
Yes, I apologize. I apologize. Okay, well, many folks here in U.S. are focused on March Madness or the World Baseball Classic. Go Team USA tomorrow night, by the way. We at the White House today are going to focus on another sport, which is soccer. Or football, as some of my guests might say, specifically AFC Richmond. And I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of the Believe banners that we're seeing around, that you all may be seeing around the White House complex today. It is an honor, it is truly an honor to have Coach Lasso here with us today. On a serious note, though, because this is actually very serious for the reasons that they all hear, Jason and his castmates, and there's a real message around mental health. And they are meeting with the President and the First Lady, as you all know, this afternoon on this important topic. And as you know, the President has made mental health the centerpiece of his unity agenda. And I know that Jason wants to share a few words. And so, Coach Lasso, the podium is yours.
I appreciate it.
Here you go.
Thank you. I truly did not know it was going to be this one when on the way here. Not until we were out here. So thank you for taking an interest. And I know you're here for bigger reasons than us. But I just want to say that on behalf of myself, everyone here with me today, and the numerous other folks that it takes to make our show, Ted Lasso, it is sincerely an honor to visit the White House and to have the opportunity to speak.
What is the show they're talking about? And why is that woman taller than any other human being I've ever seen in my life?
Like, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter who you voted for, we all probably, I assume, we all know someone who has, or have been that someone ourselves actually, that's struggled, that's felt isolated, that's felt anxious, that has felt alone. Right? And it's actually one of the many things that believe it or not, that we all have in common as human beings, right? And so that means that it's something that we can all, and should talk about with one another when we're feeling that way, or when we recognize that in someone feeling that way. So please, we encourage everyone, and this is a big theme of the show, is like to check in with your neighbor, your coworker, your friends, your family, and ask how they're doing, and listen. Sincerely, you all ask questions for a living, but you also listen for a living. So, who am I preaching to? The choir, that is. Okay. And while it's easier said than done,
that person in the red is scary.
Shouldn't be afraid to ask for help.
Terrifying.
And that does take a lot, especially when it's something that has such a negative stigma to it, such as mental health.
PB Brown. It's from the Amazon. Something. Something. I don't know.
It needs to be a loved one. Equally as good in a lot of ways, because sometimes it just need to let that.
Look at her neck.
That pressure
just
release.
It's all caved in and wiry. Those are the wires. She's some sort of cyborg.
Make believe.
Like the fembots on Austin Powers.
FIFA and EA will tell you we are actually a make believe team, but they're working very hard to make sure that that option is available to as many Americans as possible. Now look, I know in this town a lot of folks don't always agree. Right? And don't always feel heard, seen, listened to, yes? But I truly believe that we should all do our best to help take care of each other. That's my own personal belief. I think that's something that everybody up here on stage believes in. That's things we talk about in the writer's room, and we talk about in the editing room, and everything in between. And just like, we just want to emulate, these make-believe folks that we all play at AFC Richmond and the way they take care of one another. That is the wish fulfillment of the show, aside from me playing coach and these guys being professional footballers. That's like, that's a big part of the show. Now, I can't help but take this opportunity to take at least one question. So please, yeah.
Call on Simon.
Decorum, right? That was the word we were using, decorum? Yes, sir, familiar face. Hi.
Trent Critton. Fake journalist.
Yes, sir. Yes, Trent, nice to see you.
How do you feel about Kansas City being one of the named hosting cities for the 2026 World Cup?
Ooh, here I was hoping for a softball. Okay, you know what?
Kyle, I'd climb that tree and clap those cheeks. I don't know, the way that lizard looks, she might be clapping yours. You never know.
Is once we get all these folks from all over the world to come to Kansas City and see our city, eat our food, meet our people, you're going to have a lot of folks that won't want to move away. That's what I'm worried about. That's it for us, all right? Thank you very much.
She's got that Cruella de Vil look to her.
For having us and putting up with us. Now,
she's larger than KJP in all ways.
Thank you.
Makes KJP look like a child.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me?
You don't have a little Joe Biden impression?
Nah, they got the real one here now. You know? Yeah. No, I need fake teeth.
I don't know enough about their show to understand why they're even there.
Okay.
Like, why'd they bring the giant?
Thank you. Thank you.
She could palm KJP's head like a basketball.
I just got to say something before we start. I know some folks are probably going to leave the room.
Prostitute.
Make sure.
Karine, what I'm saying is you can't keep discriminating against some people in the briefing room because you don't like them, you don't like them.
So you have a choice.
No,
You have a choice. You have a choice.
A number of people in the briefing room, and I'm saying that that's not right. This is not China. This is not Russia. This is the United States. This is the White House. It's been 7 months. I sent you emails.
The rest of us are here too, pal.
It's been 7 months. You guys have not done anything for me.
If you have grievances, you should bring them to her later.
I have done that. I have done that. All my emails have been ignored.
And the press corps is tired of dealing with this.
It isn't just about you,
I
Simon.
understand that you get questioned all the time and you don't understand what it is to sit here for 8 months and being discriminated against. I understand that you're in the front row and you feel comfortable and you get questioned all the time. But there are people in the back who don't get any questions.
Don't make assumptions about what the rest of us do. Mind your manners when you're in here. If you have a problem, you bring it up afterwards. But you are impinging on everybody in here who's only trying to do their job.
Okay, thank you. I'm saying that you shouldn't discriminate against some people because you don't agree with their question, you're offended by your question.
You made your point.
We all heard it.
All right.
It's good stuff. I love it.
As you all know,
Simon's a badass. I'm going to be retweeting all this shit today.
a historic room, a room that should have decorum, a room where folks should respect their colleagues and respect the guests that are here. And I understand that there's going to be give and take. That's the way the press briefing has gone for decades before me. And I will always, always respect that. But what I will not appreciate is disrespecting your colleagues and disrespecting guests who are here to talk.
Press 1 if you stand with Simon.
About an incredibly important issue, which is mental health. And what has just occurred this last...
Those people were here to represent mental health? That wasn't what I got out of that.
Unacceptable. So we're either going to continue the briefing or we can just end the briefing right here.
No. Oh, Mom's gonna pull the car over.
Now for my next guest, my colleague John Kirby is joining me here today to talk about President Xi's visit to Moscow and take any questions that you may have. Again, another guest that should be respected in this room and allowed to take questions from the front and from the back, and that's what we do every day, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
You're right. You take it from the front and the back every day. First time he told the truth. Oh, this guy.
Thank you. I do have a few things to get through, and I promised Karine I'd try to be as brief as I could, but there's...
Nobody cares, Kirby. Come on, man.
Please bear with me, and then be happy to take as many questions as...
Stop jerking yourself off. Let's go. Let's get this over with.
As you all know, President Xi's visiting Russia to meet with President Putin. Now, you also probably know that China's already issued a 12-point plan for the conflict in Ukraine, which includes an essential point, and that's respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries. We encourage President Xi to advocate for this exact essential key point, which must include the withdrawal of Russian forces from sovereign Ukrainian territory consistent with the UN Charter. The entire world would like to see this war end, especially the Ukrainians themselves, who have put forward their own plan for a just peace, which draws again on these same UN principles. And let's remember, this war could actually end right now if Russia would withdraw its troops from the country. We hope that President Xi will press President Putin to cease bombing Ukrainian cities, hospitals, and schools, to halt the war crimes and atrocities, and to withdraw all his troops. But we are concerned that, instead, China will reiterate calls for a ceasefire that leaves Russian forces inside Ukraine's sovereign territory. Now, any ceasefire that does not address the removal of Russian forces from Ukraine would effectively ratify Russia's illegal conquests. enabling Russia to entrench its positions, and then to restart the war at a more...
They got Jet Li doing the hand signs today.
This would, the world should not be fooled by any tactical move by Russia, aided by China or any other country, to freeze the war on its terms without any viable pathway to restore Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Any such attempt would violate the UN Charter and defy the will of the 141 countries that demanded just weeks ago at the UN General Assembly that Russia immediately, completely, and unconditionally withdraw from Ukraine. Efforts to end this conflict must take Ukraine's position into account. And so we encourage President Xi to play a constructive role by speaking with President Zelensky, which he has not done since Russia launched this invasion. Because China, quite frankly, we believe, should hear directly from the Ukrainians and not just from the Russians. And we encourage President Xi to press President Putin directly on the need to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The world and China's neighbors will certainly be watching closely. Now, I also have a few updates for you on Israel. First, we welcome the understandings reached in Sharm el-Sheikh yesterday between senior political and security officials of Israel and the Palestinian Authority.
He said he went to McDonald's and got a Shamrock Shake.
Format following the gathering that was in Aqaba 3 weeks ago, and it included participation by senior officials from the United States, from Egypt, and from Jordan. The parties held candid and constructive conversations on steps to improve security and stability for Palestinians and Israelis, and on efforts to strengthen the economic stability of the Palestinian people. Meetings at this level have not taken place in nearly 10 years, and they help to build a critical foundation to de-escalate tensions and reduce violence, and that's what we want to see happen. We look forward to continuing these discussions as we enter the holy month of Ramadan, of Passover, and Easter. Now, President Biden has also spoken, I think, as you know, yesterday with Prime Minister Netanyahu. In that call, he welcomed the meeting in Sharm el-Sheikh and reinforced the need for all sides to take urgent, collaborative steps to enhance security coordination, condemn all acts of terrorism, and maintain the viability of a two-state solution. He also reiterated his unwavering commitment to Israel's security and our ongoing cooperation to counter all the threats posed by Iran, and there are many. The president also stressed that democratic values have always been and must remain a hallmark of U.S.-Israeli bilateral relations. Democratic societies are strengthened by genuine checks and balances, and fundamental changes should be pursued with the broadest possible base of popular support. He offered his support for efforts underway to forge a compromise on proposed judicial reforms consistent with those core principles, and we call on all Israeli leaders to reach such a compromise without delay. On a separate topic, earlier today, I think you saw, the President issued a statement welcoming the recovery and soon return of Jeff Woodkey, a U.S. citizen who had been held hostage in Africa for more than 6 years. He is safe, and he is in the hands of U.S. government officials. As the President said in that statement not too long ago, we extend our deepest appreciation to the Nigerian government for their help in securing his release. For more than 6 years, there has been
With everybody always worried about the rest of the world, nobody's worrying about Americans.
Which was spearheaded by our military, our law enforcement, and our intelligence community working together.
Yeah, I had to make sure Klaus Daniels was doing all right. I didn't want them making Kung Pao Klaus. I don't want, some Klaus and rice. This is my big chicken nugget.
Support. After a full medical screening, he will be united with his loved ones in the near future. I think you can understand why we'd ask you to please allow Jeff and his family a little bit of privacy here.
Yeah.
To new surroundings and to life moving forward and to coming back into American
privacy is overrated.
Biden-Harris administration remains unwavering in our commitment to bringing Americans wrongfully detained or held hostage abroad home to their loved ones, and this is yet another example of the president's commitment in that regard. Lastly, I know it's not lost on any of you that today is the 20th anniversary of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Whatever one thinks about the war and what started it, I can tell you two things. One, we're looking ahead. We've got a good collaboration, a good partnership with Iraq and Iraqi security forces, who we continue to partner with in an enable, advise, and assist role, because there's still a viable threat of ISIS there in Iraq and in Syria. And number two, the president and the First Lady remain absolutely committed, as they always have been, to the men and women of our military, as well as across the interagency, who served, fought, died, and suffered in Iraq. Some 4,399 troops did not make it home from the war. More than 30,000 came home forever changed by wounds and injuries. And it's not just them, it's their families that continue to suffer, that continue to sacrifice. There's 4,399 chairs at 4,399 dinner tables that are empty. And it's important for us always to remember that and never forget the bravery, the courage, the sacrifice that went into fighting that war. Again, regardless of how you feel about it, President Biden and the First Lady are going to stay committed to those families going forward.
I'm going to start in the back. Go ahead, please, sir. Yes. Oh, okay, thank you. Just on Russia, first of all.
I call him Kirby because all he does is suck.
The grain deal by May 18th, if the U.S. doesn't comply with some of their demands, which include putting some banks back in the SWIFT system and resuming exports of agricultural equipment. What's your reaction to that, and what's the plan B if they do halt?
So first, we obviously welcome the extension. It's for, I think, 60 days, not the 120 that I think everybody was hoping for, but 60-day extension. That's a good thing. In fact, over the weekend, I think 2 ships left with hundreds of thousands of metric tons of corn. And a lot of that corn, a lot of that grain is heading for low and middle income countries that have been suffering, no question been suffering, since the beginning of this war with food insecurity.
GMO corn? Corn that'll give you cancer?
The work of Turkey for the UN to move forward with that. I don't have any, and I won't get into speculating about repercussions one way or another. We're focused on now that this is extended, making sure we get those ships loaded and get them out and get them to places where they need to be. That's what the focus is.
Can you just remind us of your position on, doubtless there are going to be conversations between President
Who's this dude?
Putin about assistance to Russia in Ukraine. What is the U.S.'s position on that, and what if China does decide to aid Russia?
All right. So on the
Weird. Did you see the person next to the individual speaking was doing some coaching there?
You've heard the president say this himself. He wants to have another conversation with President Xi, and he'll do that. And we'll do that at the most appropriate time. I don't have a call on the schedule to speak to, but it's important that we keep those lines of communication open, particularly now when tensions are so high. That's why we still want to get Secretary Blinken back to Beijing. That visit was postponed. It wasn't canceled. And we're still hopeful that we can get that back on the calendar. As a matter of fact, we're having discussions with the PRC right now about potential visit by Secretary Yellen, Secretary Raimondo, to go over there and talk about economic issues. So there's that we're still working. So all of that, keeping those lines of communication open, are still valuable. Now, you asked about lethal weapons and provision of lethal weapons by China. We'll see what they come out of this meeting talking about. I mean, we don't know if there's going to be some sort of arrangement. I would just tell you that we still don't believe that China's taken it off the table. We still don't believe and haven't seen any indication that they're moving in that direction, or they've made a decision to provide, or that they're actually going to do that. We continue to believe it's not in China's best interest to do that, to help Mr. Putin slaughter innocent Ukrainians. It's hard to believe that they would think that that's in their best interest. It would also run counter to what we've heard President Xi talk about in terms of what his ultimate.
Happy for him, Sam. Thanks for being here.
Talking about sovereignty, territorial integrity, finding a peaceful way to end this war. That providing lethal weapons would seem to be inconsistent with that goal.
When is the right time for a ceasefire?
Alex,
Thank you, Karine. Admiral, are you encouraged by progress or seeming progress in Israel on the judicial reforms? It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu and his critics agree on some key things, but not others. How do you assess the situation?
Well, we're glad that they're talking. The president was encouraged by the efforts by President Herzog to come up with some alternatives. We're certainly going to let Israeli leaders speak to the details of that. This is for them to work out. But one of the messages that President Biden had when he spoke to the Prime Minister yesterday was it's important for those efforts to be fully explored and for compromises to be made, because the beauty of democracy is in fact compromise, and the strength of both our.
Is that why you're not calling on Simon?
We believe in checks and balances.
What's up, Mayor?
and also
Cheeky chaps.
consensus among the populace that to make these changes, whatever changes they are, to make them sustainable, all that has to be factored in.
Good. Thanks. Just a couple follow-ups here. You said that you haven't seen any confirmation that China has made a decision yet when it comes to providing aid. Why do you think China hasn't made this decision yet? Do you think they're waiting for this meeting today, or?
Difficult to know. It's hard, you know, I couldn't possibly get inside President Xi's decision-making to see, you know, what he's thinking. China has, as you know, not condemned the war, but they haven't provided lethal weapons. They haven't participated in sanctions the way we obviously would have preferred them to do. They have made their own sovereign decisions, and largely, at least tacitly, many of those decisions have come down on the side of Russia here, including buying into the Russian propaganda that this war is some sort of existential threat to Russia and it's the West or the U.S.
Yeah, Peter's there today. I don't know if he'll get called on, though.
Is nonsense. I can't speak for President Xi and why he hasn't moved in this direction. I would just reiterate here from the podium what we've reiterated to Chinese officials privately, that we don't think it's in their best interest. It's not going to bring an end to this war any faster. And as I said earlier, it certainly appears inconsistent with what President Xi has said publicly about what he wants to see happen.
And on the phone call between President Biden and President Xi, what is the holdup here? You all seem interested in talking. Are the Chinese not interested?
No holdup at all. We want to make sure when we have this conversation, it's at the appropriate time and in the right context. President Xi's been kind of busy of late. I mean, he had the People's Congress, which just ended. Now he's in Moscow. So look, when it's the right time, and for both leaders, we'll get them on the phone. But just as importantly, to my first answer on this, we're still trying, still interested in working towards getting Secretary Blinken back to Beijing. I mean, he was practically on the plane when we had to pull that visit back and postpone it. And as I said, we're having active discussions with the PRC right now about the potential visit by Secretary Yellen and one by Secretary.
So what are you doing that benefits Americans?
Thanks, John. On the call yesterday with Prime Minister Netanyahu, has there been any discussion within the U.S. government of withholding potentially some military assistance to Israel because of if these judicial reforms do proceed? There are a number of instances around the world where the U.S. withholds military assistance for democratic reasons or concerns along those lines.
One of the main things that President Biden stressed to Prime Minister Netanyahu was our ironclad support for Israel's security, and that's going to continue. We face some common challenges in the region, not the least of which is Iran. That will continue.
And then some different topic, in the other NSC side, the Homeland Security side, in light of some of the discussions regarding protests surrounding the potential future indictment of the former president. You addressed this a little bit yesterday, but has the White House been briefed on any security concerns or is involved in any operational planning to ensure investigating threats or otherwise ensure Homeland Security?
I'm not aware of any specific briefings or specific threats. As I said yesterday, we always monitor this, even absent the context of those comments. We're constantly monitoring this, as you would think we should, particularly in the wake of what happened on January 6th. But I'm not tracking any individual or specific threats or any specific or operational.
They are never not monitoring the Orange Eagle.
Yeah.
Jeff, and then
Thanks. John, does the president plan to invite Prime Minister Netanyahu to Washington for a visit?
There's nothing on the schedule right now for that.
And more broadly on the Russia question, is there another way to look at President Xi's visit other than a show of support for President Putin?
I think clearly, look, take a couple of steps back here. I mean, this is a relationship that has been burgeoning of late. These two countries have grown closer. They are both countries that chafe and bristle at U.S. leadership around the world. That chafe and bristle at this idea. I know it sounds like
countries that are chafing, like they need baby powder.
Which
it's an interesting word selection there.
Helped to establish in the wake of World War II. And these two countries, they don't like that much, and they'd like to challenge it. And in China's case in particular, they certainly would like to challenge U.S. leadership around the world. In President Putin, President Xi sees a potential ally in that effort. For President Putin, he sees in President Xi a lifeline of sorts for a war.
Think about what you're gonna say before you say it, dude. You sound dumb. You sound severely dumb.
Wanted it to go, in a military that is clearly failing on the battlefield. So it's a bit of a marriage of convenience, I'd say, less than it is of affection. And again, we'll see where this goes after this meeting. But these are not two countries that have, decades-long experience working together and full trust and confidence. It's a burgeoning of late based on America's increasing leadership around the world and trying to check that.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about the government of India protest against, there was an attack on the Indian consulate in San Francisco yesterday. The doors were broken, windows were broken, and the graffiti is written on its wall. Is the president aware about it? And I haven't seen any action being taken by the San Francisco police yet.
We certainly condemn that vandalism. It's just absolutely unacceptable. The State Department's Diplomatic Security Service is working with local authorities. I can't speak for the San Francisco police, but I can say that the Diplomatic Security Service is working with local authorities to properly investigate, and obviously State Department is going to be working from an infrastructure perspective to repair the damage, but it's unacceptable.
Now that you have a U.S. ambassador to India confirmed by the Senate, it has been more than 2 years now that you didn't have an ambassador to India. Can you look back and say how it impacted your ties with India, not having an ambassador on the ground in Delhi?
It always helps if you have a Senate-confirmed ambassador in a country, particularly one that's so important like India to us in the region and around the world. But we didn't let that stop us. President Biden has prioritized that bilateral relationship, and even though without an ambassador, we certainly had a very competent charge there and a very competent career staff in the embassy that were able to continue to advance our foreign policy interests and this bilateral relationship, and did so quite effectively. But obviously, having an ambassador is always important, and we look forward to
Wait in the back behind Alex. Thank you. What is the administration doing specifically to counter the growing Russia and China relationship?
What we're focused on is revitalizing
that's informative.
and advancing our foreign policy goals around the world, and in working to strengthen the foreign policy objectives and the mutual security objectives that we share with so many other countries. I mean, last week on Monday, the president was in San Diego to unveil with Prime Minister Sunak and Prime Minister Albanese of Australia this AUKUS deal. This is an opportunity now to help Australia get their own nuclear-powered submarines. That's just one example. That's what we're focused on. It's not about countering them. It's about advancing our goals.
Thanks. John, Russia and China, it seems like these two superpowers are teaming up now against the U.S. Why did President Biden let this happen?
Peter, these are two countries that have long chafed. As I said to Jeff, long chafed.
They're long chafing, huh?
U.S. leaders.
That's not good. That's not good for your undercarriage.
And the network of alliances and partnerships that we have. This is not something that these two countries just cooked up since President Biden got elected. But it is something that they have been
since he's been president. He has talked tough. He tried to pressure Putin and Xi to act right or risk their standing on the world stage. Does he see now that they don't care?
I think if you ask a lot of Russians, they certainly care. I mean, their economy is barely being propped up by some pretty radical measures by Mr. Putin. Their military has been roundly embarrassed inside Ukraine, and they continue to lose ground there. And as for China, again, take a look at the way the president has really revitalized and restored alliances and partnerships that were let go, if not ridiculed, in the previous administration. We have prioritize them. And there's no other nation around the world that has this alliance and partnership network that we do. 5 of our 7 treaty alliances are in the Indo-Pacific, and President Biden has prioritized each and every one of them.
Specific to these two leaders, though, do you think that Putin and Xi fear President Biden?
You'd have to ask them whether they fear or they not. It is not about fear. It's about President Biden advancing our foreign policy goals around the world. It's about President Biden revitalizing these alliances and partnerships. It's about President Biden and what he's doing to preserve our national security interests around the world. That's what we're focused on.
Welcome back.
Enforcing our policies around the world.
Has the president spoken
That doesn't sound like dictatorship at all.
I don't think there's been any direct communication by the president with respect to the family yet. I mean, we're just delighted. This news just broke, as you know. We're just delighted to be able to get him back in our hands. We're going to make sure he gets the care he needs, and I'm sure there'll be appropriate communications at the right time. But as I said in my opening statement, this is 6 years, and they just got word today. We need to give the family a little breathing space.
And so, really quick, your reaction to President Putin visiting Mariupol over the weekend?
So, look, a couple things there.
He's all pissy.
I certainly won't speak to his travel habits, but Mariupol's far from the fighting. It's far from the front lines. I hope he did get to see. I hope he did get to see the damage and the destruction that his troops did to that city. And I heard in the press release that he was going to look at all the ways they're rebuilding Mariupol. How about the fact that they shouldn't have to rebuild it? Because he shouldn't have bombed. Sorry. He shouldn't have. I was going to use a word I shouldn't use here. What his troops, his military, and his war did to that city. But we'll let him speak to what he came away from. I would also tell you that it's clear that he knows, he has to know how badly he's doing inside Ukraine. More than 50% of the territory they took from Ukraine in the first weeks and months of the war, the Ukrainians have already taken back. And the only real active fighting right now is around Bakhmut. And here we are on, what is it today, the 20th? And Bakhmut is still not in Russian hands. Now, they're fighting over it, but the Ukrainians aren't giving up on it. And all the while, we are working to make sure, and today we're announcing another package of assistance, $350 million worth of assistance, largely ammunition to Ukraine. While all that's going on, we're working to make sure that Ukraine is well-suited and well-postured to defend themselves in the weeks and months ahead.
Afghanistan. Thanks, John. 2 quick follow-ups on China. In your description of the relationship between the two, convenience, not affection, Russia viewing China as a lifeline, do you guys view Russia at this point as a client state of China?
I would say there's, in that particular bilateral relationship, they certainly are the junior partner.
And then in terms of
Thanks for being your ski man.
The President's talked about this, he's talked about it repeatedly, being critical to the relationship, the bilateral relationship with China. Which lines are not currently open? There was reporting last month about the military. No lines were not open. Obviously, economic lines are open. It seems like the Secretary.
Well, we're hoping to get the economic lines open. The military-to-military lines are not open, and that's a problem. That was, as you know, one of the things we were hoping Secretary Blinken would get thawed for us, because they are frozen. And of course, that trip didn't happen yet, so those lines are still not open. But look, through diplomatic channels, we still have the ability to speak with the Chinese, and we are. As I said, we're working with them on a potential trip by Secretaries Yellen and Raimondo. And as I said earlier, the President will absolutely speak with President Xi at the appropriate time. That's still open.
Hey, John, can you talk more about the effort to release Jeff Woodkey? Was the White House directly involved in negotiations? Were there any concessions? What exactly changed in the last little bit?
We were, our team here at the NSC was involved in this. Of course, Mr. Karstens, the Special Envoy for Hostage Affairs over the State Department, was keenly involved. You saw that the President personally thanked the FBI Hostage Fusion Cell. for their work, as well as just the work across the interagency. As I said in my opening statement, the intelligence community, other diplomats as well. It was a team effort to get him out. There were no concessions made. There were no swaps here. This was just hard, grueling, deliberate work by diplomats and other experts.
It was hard, huh?
Government of Niger to get him home, and well, hopefully, he'll be home soon, but we're looking forward to that.
Staying on the continent, Kamala Harris goes to Africa
She does.
Later this week.
She does.
The First Lady has.
That'll be entertaining.
I wonder what, at the end of Biden plans later this year. I wonder at the end of the day, sort of what message you hope to send to those nations, to the continent, and is it a direct foil, a direct, to China, to China's role in the region?
So the message is the same that the president delivered when we had the African Leaders Summit here in December, and that's that Africa matters, the continent matters, and our relationships across the continent all matter, and we work on those relationships one at a time, because every country on the continent is different, has different needs, and different expectations of American leadership.
What's up, Eric? Happy Freedom.
Summit assigned Mr. Carson to be the special envoy for implementation, and you're seeing us now move out on that. You mentioned the vice president's trip. First Lady was just there. We are actively
What was Jill Handler doing over there?
things we promised we would do at the end of that Africa Leaders Summit. So this is very much about Africa, African leaders, African nations, and not about anybody else.
It's never about Americans.
Can I ask you a follow-up question on
I
that?
have a question on India.
Call on Simon.
There is a report from U.S. News saying that the U.S. provided intelligence to Indian military, and that helped them repel a Chinese incursion that happened last year.
By the way,
Does it mean that,
they kicked Simon out after this, and he's not allowed to come back to the White House press briefing room. There's an interview with Tucker Carlson we're going to cover after this on the free speech platforms. This is Simon's last day at the press briefing.
You and other senior officials have been vocal in recent weeks about your insights into consideration by the Chinese of providing some kind of direct or lethal assistance to the Russians, and that's why you've issued your public warnings against them doing that. One of the little noted aspects of this relationship that I think is important came back in September when Putin and Xi last met in Uzbekistan. And in his public comments, President Putin stated that they were eager to address the concerns about the Ukraine war that the Chinese had raised. So I wonder if you have any insights into the nature of those Chinese concerns and what they may have communicated to the Russians about that.
I don't.
Second question is on the Chinese brokered rapprochement between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Since that deal was announced, has the United States been able to observe any changes in that relationship, in its security implications for the region, etc.?
I think it's too soon right now, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You said there were no concessions made for the release of Mr. Woodkey. Does that mean there was no ransom payment at all?
That's right. That's what that means.
And Secretary of State Blinken was in Niger last week. Did he negotiate at all for his release during that
He
trip?
certainly had discussions with leaders that he met there about Mr. Woodkey, as you would expect him to.
And where is Mr. Woodkey right now?
I'm not going to get into the specifics of his location. He's still on the continent, but he's in U.S. He's with U.S. government officials.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Karine. Do you know if the Chinese government has contacted Kiev regarding its 12 points plan? And what's the Ukrainian government reaction to the plan itself?
I certainly would refer you to comments that President Zelensky has already made. I'm not going to speak for him or his administration. To the best of my knowledge, I know of no conversations between the Chinese and Kyiv with respect to this so-called 12-point proposal.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Karine.
So we saw the Chinese, as alluded to here, broker a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and now the Chinese say they want to broker peace in Ukraine. What role would President Biden play in any negotiations with that?
He's already talked to that. He's already said very clearly, when it comes to a negotiated settlement, if it comes to a negotiated settlement, and I'll say it again, no reason for it to, Mr. Putin could just pull his troops out, be done. But if and when it comes to that, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, and we will do, and the Ukrainians will find in us a strong and willing partner to help President Zelensky if and when he's ready to negotiate. But the starting point for us has got to be him. The Ukrainians have to be heard. Their perspectives have to be understood. They have to have a voice in this process. And so it's fine for the Chinese to go out there and say they want a ceasefire. We'd all like to see the fighting stop. Who wouldn't? But if it stops now, without any consideration of the Ukrainian side, without any discussion between the Chinese and the Ukrainians, without any accession by them to an idea of a ceasefire, it basically freezes in place what Mr. Putin has been able to achieve on the ground inside Ukraine. It's dwindling, but he still has occupied territory in Ukraine, and that's just unacceptable.
What's the level of concern, real quick, just real quick, what's the level of concern about the growing influence of China around the world then?
Well, I mean, certainly mindful that China has tried to expand their influence all around the world, Middle East, in Africa, in Latin America. They can speak to their foreign policy goals should they wish to. I can only speak to ours. And our goals are not about countering or being a block or an obstacle. There's no effort to contain here. It's about advancing what President Biden believes are the appropriate foreign policy goals for this country, for the American people, and for the best interests of our allies and partners. And again, I'll go back to what I said before. No other nation in the world, none, has a network of alliances and partnerships that the United States does, has as many friends around the world as the United States does, who are interested in pursuing the same goals.
Serum. Oh yeah, they definitely forgot about Ohio. They don't care about Ohio.
More than 50 nations.
They don't even want to bring that up. Old man Walter ain't never going to Ohio.
Those are voluntary participation events. It's not like we're browbeating people to show up to agree to contribute to Ukraine. That's the power of American convening leadership, and you don't see that power out of either Russia or China. These are two countries who do not have that same network of friends and partners.
Once the rain peels the paint off your car in Ohio, they'll just blame the Orange Eagle for it.
He got me. He got me all lathered up.
What?
Lathered up now, but one of the reasons why you're seeing that tightening relationship.
Got y'all lathered up. That sounds flamboyant. Thank you so much, Daryl, for that $1 donation on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, last question.
Thank you very much. President travels to Ottawa this week, and the past president had a difficult relationship with Prime Minister Trudeau. Does the United States feel that episode is in the past, or does that relationship need tending with Canada and Canada's leadership?
We'll have more to say later in the week about the trip to Canada. The president's very excited about doing this, going up there and really going to Ottawa for no other purpose than the bilateral relationship. He has a terrific relationship with Prime Minister Trudeau, warm and friendly and productive.
All I can think about is he's all lathered up. It's freaking me out. Standing all close to me and stuff. Touch me, buddy.
To climate change.
Y'all lathered up.
Challenges, economic and trade. I mean, there's a.
I don't want no part of that.
We'll say later in the week, but
he's trying to touch me with his hot dog fingers.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everybody.
I need more coffee so bad. Brussels sprout.
Okay, just a couple things and then we'll get going. As you all know, earlier this month, President Biden released his budget, which will, the following: invest in America, lower costs and cut taxes for working families, protect and strengthen
I appreciate you, Daryl.
Medicare, and reduce the deficit by nearly $3 trillion over a decade, all while ensuring that no one making less than $400,000 per year pays a penny more in new taxes. The day after the president released his budget, the House Freedom Caucus released their MAGA budget proposal, which is a 5-alarm fire for hardworking families. Each day this week, we will zero in on how the MAGA budget proposal would be a disaster by endangering public safety, raising costs for families, shipping manufacturing jobs overseas, and undermining American workers, hurting seniors, and weakening national security and our ability to outcompete China. Today, we're showcasing how the MAGA budget proposal would endanger public safety. And here is how it will do that. Make our borders less secure by eliminating funding for more than the 2,000 CBC agents and officers. Defund the police, not fund the police, but defund the police by eliminating funding.
Yeah, what the BLMers scream in the streets.
And 400 local law enforcement positions. Allow an additional 150,000 pounds of cocaine, nearly 900 pounds of fentanyl, nearly 2,000 pounds of heroin into our country.
Yep, right to Hunter Biden's doorstep.
To 11,000 fewer rail safety inspections days next year alone.
Rail safety is just another phrase for safe word.
Shutting down air traffic control tower services at 1/3 of all U.S. airports.
What's up, Boxing MMA? Welcome to the live.
We look forward to sharing more every day this week. One last thing, and then we'll get started. We send our best wishes to everyone celebrating Nowruz across the United States and around the world, from the Middle East to Central and South Asia and to Europe. The Nowruz holiday brings loved ones together around the Hafseen table to reflect on the year that has passed and renew hope for the year ahead. This year comes at a difficult time for many families, when the hope is needed more than ever, including for the women of Iran who are fighting for their human rights and fundamental freedoms. The United States will continue to stand with the women of Iran and all the citizens of Iran who are inspiring the world with their conviction and their courage. And together with our partners, we will continue to hold Iranian officials accountable for their attacks against their own people. With that, you want to kick us off, Steve?
Thanks, Karine. It's first a quick moment of personal privilege here. I just want to express our apologies to the press corps, to the folks watching at home for the display we saw earlier. Our responsibility is to them. We're here to ask questions on their behalf, to hold their government accountable.
Oh, shut up, you softy. You can't speak for Simon. You're soft.
For you, there's some calls over the weekend, last couple of days, from small, mid-sized banks calling on the federal government to ensure deposits above $250,000. Is that something that the president would be supportive of?
So don't have any newest announcement at this time for you, and appreciate that, I should say. I appreciate that. I think the American people appreciate that, because that is an important...
Wait until you hear the interview between Simon and Tucker Carlson on the free speech platforms right after this.
Regulators. And as you saw, due to our actions this week, at the direction of the president, Americans should be confident of their deposits. We'll be there when they need them. And so, again, that's what our focus is going to be. We don't have any new announcements at this time, but clearly we want to make sure that our financial system is stable.
Briefly, on a different topic, Congress has sent the president the COVID origins bill. Does he intend to sign that?
I spoke to this last week. We're certainly reviewing it. I just don't have anything to share on the president signing the bill at this time or next actions.
Thanks, Karine. And I'll join Zeke in what he said earlier. What does the White House make of former President Trump calling on supporters to protest his potential indictment?
So, as you know, it's an ongoing investigation. We do not comment on any ongoing investigations from here. We've been very consistent on that. So certainly I'm not going to break that, break our protocol here. So I won't comment from here.
I'm not asking about the potential indictment itself. I'm asking about the former president calling on supporters to protest the possibility that he might be indicted.
Understood. Wanted to say that at the top. So, look, the president has been very clear when it comes to Americans who want to protest. They should do it peacefully, and that is something that is incredibly important that the president has always continued to say, but I don't want to get into, hypotheticals from here.
Are they friend or foe? One other thing related to this that isn't hypothetical, because now House Republicans are requesting to speak with the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, about his ongoing investigation. into former President Trump. Is that the view of the White House, a proper use of federal taxpayer dollars to investigate or try to find out what a local prosecutor is?
Again, I'm just not going to speak because that is an underlying connection to the.
What's up, MH? Happy freedom.
From here. Look, the president is going to continue to focus on what the American people need, their priorities. We're going to continue to focus on lowering costs. We're going to continue to focus on the president fighting for Medicare, Social Security, ACA. That is what the president's going to do. Look, if Republicans, and the president has said this over and over again, if Republicans want to work with us in a bipartisan way to deliver for the American people, to continue to build on the successes that we have seen in the last 2 years when it comes to the economic policy, building an economy from the bottom up, middle out, he's willing to have that conversation.
We saw what the president proposed on Friday regarding changes to how the FDIC oversees banks and executives at banks specifically. Has he been in touch directly with any business leaders, or who was it here at the White House that may have had conversations with Warren Buffett, for example?
So I've seen the reports on Warren Buffett that you all have been reporting on. Don't have anything to read out or to lay out on any conversation, and so I'll just leave it there.
And the president himself, otherwise?
Just don't have anything to read out on conversations that the president may have had with anybody from the business sector or outside of the White House. What I can say is, and we've said this many times before, he has been kept regularly updated by his economic team, by the chief of staff, and that continues. Thank you. Okay, Mary.
To put a follow-up on Ed's question about the former president's message to his supporters, given what we've seen in the past when the former president has urged his supporters to take our nation back, are you concerned and worried as an administration about the threat of violence?
So look, we are always prepared. I can say that from here. I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals or any.
You mean we're all excited? Just say it. We're all excited.
And on the issue of banking, there's some reporting that Warren Buffett has been in touch with the administration, playing a role in sort of helping to advise as you address the banking crisis. Can you confirm that? Can you comment on any conversations with Warren Buffett?
Yeah, I think Ed just asked that question. Mary.
Got that Seth Rogen laugh.
No, I just don't have anything for you at this time. I can confirm that I have not had a conversation with Warren Buffett, but no, I just don't have anything to read out at this time. No problem.
Just following up on the broad question about banking, can you give us a sense of next steps in this? You've expressed confidence that the banking system is strong, but there's still some jitters out there.
Understood. Look, the president has already called for Congress to make it easier for regulators to do the following: claw back compensation, impose civil penalties, and ban executives from working in the banking industry. He will also going to call on Congress and bank regulators to strengthen the rules for larger banks so this doesn't happen again. As you know, and I've said this many times before, in 2018 we saw that the previous administration rolled back some of the tough requirements put in place under the Obama-Biden administration, and so which was put in place to strengthen the financial system. So the administration is going to actively look into what regulations or laws should be strengthened to prevent this from happening again. But look, the actions that we saw this weekend, the actions that we have seen over the past 10 days or so, should give the American people confidence that depositors will have their money, will be there when they need it. And so again, we have done everything that we can to make sure that we hold the managers of these banks accountable, and that this does not affect, and we don't put on the hook, the taxpayers or the American people.
Is the president worried, or is the White House worried about the politics of this in terms of banks getting bailouts and average Americans, so to say, not?
So look, the president made a commitment to make sure, and you heard also Secretary Yellen speak to this last week, and making sure that they're not put on the hook for this, right? Making sure that that the investors, as I just mentioned, the managers are held accountable. And so the president has made decisive, forceful actions to strengthen again the public confidence in our.
Thank you so much, big fella, for that $10 donation on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you.
With these actions,
says KJP eats corn the long way. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
That is something that you heard from Secretary Yellen directly.
When she says she's playing cornhole, she's talking about something else.
The president's direction that he asked the regulators to take a look at, that he asked the Treasury Department to take a look at and make sure that we make these decisive actions. Again, we just saw some decisive action this weekend, and so we want to make sure, and we're doing this to make sure that the American people are confident in the work that this administration is trying to do to make sure that that we meet the demands, the resources for depositors are met.
Thanks, Karine. Does the president believe that the actions of the last 10 days, which have been pretty extraordinary in scale and scope, are enough? That we're past this, we're through this, the system's going to be good to go from there now?
So, look, when you think about the accountability that the president put forth just on Friday, which focused on ensuring that senior bank executives are held fully accountable, it builds on our work to ensure key executives that ran Silicon Valley, for example, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank are removed, and investors in these two banks take their losses. But again, Congress should act, should make it easier for regulators to claw back those compensations that I mentioned, impose civil penalties, and ban executives from working in the banking industry again. So, look, the president took the necessary actions to meet the moment that we're in now. He believes that Congress needs to continue to act. We're going to continue to have those conversations. Of course, there are things that we can do without Congress, which is what we're seeing the regulators do. But this is
the regulators.
This is also, we have to do this in hand with Congress. So, of course, more should be done and can be done.
And just one quick follow-up. Do you guys view this, you've said the issue of confidence several times in terms of how people are perceiving things right now. Do you view this primarily as a confidence issue, not a system issue or some bigger problem in terms of...
So we want to make sure, I think it's important, the president believes, as president of the United States, as we're seeing what occurred these last, again, 10 days or so, I've lost count, but...
What's up, John Costello? Happy freedom.
They should have confidence in the banking system. They should have confidence in the actions that the regulators have taken, that, again, at the direction of the president. And as you asked me, should there be more work to be done? Absolutely. We should not let Congress off the hook. They should take actions in making sure that moving forward, that our banking, but we're in a different place than we were in 2008 because of the regulations that we saw in the Obama-Biden White House, and so that matters as well. Okay.
To follow up on that, Karine, you said that there are things that the White House or the administration can do without Congress. Do you have a timeline on this, on when we'll see that? Days or weeks?
It's a good question, JJ. Look, we're already seeing some of that underway as regulators have taken action over the last few years to reverse the last administration's deregulation, and that is because of, again, the actions under this president. And so we've seen that, but again, we cannot take Congress off the hook. And the regulators are going to continue to do what the president asked of them, again, these past 2 years. But again, Congress has to act. We need to make sure that they do their part in this as the president is taking actions to give the American people confidence. Go ahead.
Does the president view Jerome Powell's stewardship of these events as at all a risk to his position as chairman of the Federal Reserve?
No, not at all. The president has confidence in Jerome Powell.
The shares of First Republic Bank have declined in recent days. Is the administration considering any further steps to support that bank, and do those options include potentially the FDIC taking over the bank?
So look, that's something for the FDIC to speak to. I'm not going to comment on any hypotheticals from here.
And Senator Warren was on a number of Sunday shows yesterday. She has said the Federal Reserve should stop hiking interest rates in an effort to control the high inflation given the circumstances that we're in. What's the president's level of concern that another rate increase this week could further weaken the banking industry and potentially threaten some of these smaller and mid-sized banks?
So look, I understand the question as it relates to the Federal Reserve. We've been very clear. They are independent. They will make, the president believes that. The president has been very clear on that, and they are going to make their decision, their monetary policy decision as it relates to interest rate, as it relates to dealing with inflation, which are clearly both connected, but we're not gonna comment on that from here.
Call on Simon.
How's switching gears to climate a little bit, how is the White House dealing with the new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report that came out today? Are there plans to change anything that the administration's doing, or just carry on the programs and plans you have right now?
So they have not spoken to our team about the report, so we need to go back and get their assessment on the report that you just mentioned that came out. So just don't have anything to share at this time, but happy to come back to you on that.
And in terms of preparations for any protests or rallies, what do those preparations look like?
I'm just not going to get into any details from here. I think I answered this question just a little bit to your colleague, and
I think they don't want to talk about it because they have some sort of planned PSYOP thing going on. They don't want to give away too much information.
The Cuban baseball defector, and are there any concerns about how that might impact any relations with Cuba?
I don't have anything to share at this time on that question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Karine, while we've been in here, there's been a couple of stories that have started to come out about the economic report of the president. I think there's an AP story and a New York Times story. Do you have anything more to share on when that report's coming out and any of the top lines from it?
I don't have anything to share at this time. When we're ready, we certainly will share that with all of you. Okay. Go ahead, Courtney.
Thanks, Karine. I wanted to ask you, state leaders are campaigning for abortion access amendments to be put on the ballot in 2023 and 2024. One example that's gaining some steam is in Ohio. Is the administration doing anything to support this effort or tracking those ballot initiatives, given that you...
Can you go back to what you said before you said Ohio? What is...
Ballot initiatives, there's leaders that are trying to put ballot initiatives for 2023 and 24 for abortion access.
Abortion acts to abortion
access, kind of like what we saw in Kansas, gaining traction to do that in other states.
Well, look, the president has been very clear about what, especially
super clear.
Was no longer the law of the land, that we needed to do everything that was possible to make sure that we protect women's rights to health care, and he's been very clear about that. I don't have any specifics to say on those particular potential pieces of...
We want to talk about law of the land when it comes to deleted fetus in the form of health care, which equals death, and it's not the same thing. But you don't want to talk about law of the land when we're talking about the Second Amendment and those red flag laws where somebody could just make a phone call on you and have your right to bear arms taken away, you human garbage bag.
We're going to continue to call that out. We should not be talking about taking away the freedoms of Americans across the country, of women across the country. And so we're going to continue to be very clear about that. But certainly we would support legislation that helps expand the access for women.
And if you could provide an update on the case in Texas on mifepristone. I know that you've gotten that question a couple times about how you're preparing. We still don't obviously have a court order, but can you provide an update for people who are listening, who are worried about this decision and how it might affect their care?
Yeah, I want to be very careful. It's as you know, the decision has not happened. It's an ongoing litigation. But I've spoken at this podium before how unprecedented if the decision were to ban a pill that has been around for more than 2 decades. That's in more than 60 countries. But again, this is about the FDA's authority to make its independent, evidence-based decision on drugs. And so those decisions on what medication can be used in our country should not be determined in court. And they should be determined based on their safety, science, and the data. And so want to be very clear, but so we'll wait. We'll await steps here and speak on this once the decision has been made. But again, the president is going to continue to be very vocal when it comes to protecting women and their rights to choose for themselves, for their own body, on how they want to proceed and move forward with health care. Okay. Go ahead, Ariel.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow, the president will take part in this White House Conservation and Action Summit at the Department of Interior, where he will, and I quote the guidance, highlight the administration's actions and historic investments for the environment and nature. But just a few days ago, he greenlighted the Willow Project in Alaska. So this it looks like he's sending conflicting signals here. So can you maybe elaborate on what his approach is on the environment and what he's telling, especially young activists who protested the Willow Project?
Yeah, I would disagree with that. As we have said before, the step that the Department of Interior had taken was because of certain legal constraints. So we have to remember that these were legal. This was part of a legal kind of decision, as I explained last week. And tomorrow's event is about building on the president's historic climate and conservation record, which the president is very proud of. If you think about what the president has done, protected more lands and waters in his first year than any president since JFK. He just last week, he declared the entire U.S. Arctic Ocean off limits to new oil and gas leasing. And the Interior Department also announced it's preparing new regulations to protect 13 million acres in Alaska. And so, the president is going to continue to fight for our climate, to protect our climate and take those actions. He's made the largest ever investments in conservation and restoration of our lands and waters. And so the president is very proud of his record, and he certainly will never back down from it. Okay, Karen.
Do you have any details of the Arts and Humanities Award ceremony tomorrow?
I do have some information to share with all of you. That's the awards that are happening tomorrow.
She's going to be sprinting off here in a couple minutes.
Give me 1 second here. So the president's going to host in the East Room ceremony at the White House to present the 2021 National Humanities Medals and the 2021 National Medals of Arts. First Lady Jill Biden will attend the ceremony as well. We will have more on the recipients of the awards later today, but don't have anything to preview, but certainly we'll have more to share. And this will be, I believe, the first one in this administration in the past 2 years. Okay, I'm trying, I've not called one more.
You haven't called on Simon.
Brian.
Karine, I wanted to ask into the FBI and the ATF in Waco. Is the Biden administration concerned about anti-government activity in Waco around the rally? Are there security concerns that President Trump may use this anniversary to foment anti-government sentiment at that?
So, I can't speak to what the former president's going to do or say. I'm not tracking any security concerns, so don't have anything more to share beyond that. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
I called it.
Thank you.
What's up, Jennifer? Happy freedom. All right, hooligans. Jacqui Stella, I heard Simon goes off. Yes, Simon went off in a big way. But that's not all. There's more. Coming up on the free speech platforms, we have a Tucker Carlson video interviewing Simon to talk about what happened today, and to also mention that he's now pretty much banned from the White House press briefing room. He's not able to go in there anymore. They revoked his pass because he was so honest today with how they've been treating him. After that, we're going to show a video, and it's actually a post from Truth Social that's been circulating all over the internet as if it is new, some sort of propaganda nonsense that has to do with the Orange Eagle protest coming up tomorrow. And then after that, and I don't know that Right Side Broadcasting is still live, but we're going to go to their video. They were out in the street in Manhattan checking out people that are already protesting. We're going to skim through that, but all of that is too spicy for YouTube. So for everyone on YouTube, I'm about to post links to Odyssey, Rumble, and JeffMacLive.com, as well as the link tree. That way you can make your way over to the free speech platforms to watch the rest of this live, because all these other videos are against the YouTube community guidelines, and I have to follow the rules, especially now that I have to go to court and stuff like that, and it really sucks. So, no time to catch a strike. Give me a second to post all these links. I'm going to give you guys the spiel deal, and then we're going to escort the YouTube platform out of the room. Hopefully all of you hooligans on YouTube make your way over to the free speech platform. This has nothing to do with you. I appreciate all of you that watch me on YouTube, but I got to follow the rules, and it is what it is. So give me a second to grab these links, post it in the chat. I'm going to give you to the end of the spiel deal. to make your way over to the free speech platforms before we end the live. For YouTube only. For everyone on the free speech platforms, go ahead, take your seat, get your riot snacks, go on and refill your coffee or your beverage of your choice. We'll be continuing on in just a moment. Alright, hooligans, so I've posted the link in the chat for Odyssey, Rumble, and JeffMacLive.com, as well as the Linktree link. I seen that Snooks posted the link for the 1 free week membership over on JeffMacLive.com if you want to go check out the private social media area, the private live streaming area with a built-in chat. We also have our J6 footage over there. I'm going to be posting a lot of exclusive information over there, such as a federal document that has my face and channel in it, just in case those people who are always asking, is there feds in the chat? There's absolutely feds in the chat, at least over on YouTube there is. Lots of exclusive information will be posted over on the JeffMAC Live website, so definitely make sure you're a part of it. Help keep us strong, because over there we have a tower that can't be kicked over. There's no community guidelines or anyone to censor us over there. It's actual free speech. The only community guidelines I have is don't use the platform to break the law. Don't be racist. Don't, treat it like you're in your own living room. Don't act like an asshole. Act like a hooligan. So you have until the end of my spiel deal here to make your way over to the free speech platforms, and we'll be continuing on with the live. With that being said, please go to JeffMacLive.com. On the homepage, you can find all of my links listed. You can find the link to join Gilded for free. Gilded is currently the best way to receive notifications for when and where we go live, every time we go live. There's a news board on Gilded to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. And there's a ton of hooligans over there to hang out with and chat it up about pretty much whatever you like. So definitely join Gilded. Also on the JeffMAC Live homepage, you can find links to the merch store if you would like to grab some merch. We have shirts, hoodies, stickers, and coffee mugs. Everything is displayed in black and white or white and black. But if you find something you like, just click on that item to see all the colors that item comes in. You can also find links to PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Stripe, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, and Locals if you would like to support what I do. There's a link to the Amazon wish list if you would like to send me stuff. It's really easy to use. Anything you purchase will be sent directly to me without having to send an email or find addresses or anything like that. It's really simple. Also, we're going to be doing the birthday unboxing on the 31st. I believe it's a Friday. So if you guys want to send me stuff through the Amazon wish list link, or if you want to find the P.O. box on the contact page of JeffMacLive.com, you are welcome to send me stuff. You have time. Don't worry about paying extra for shipping or anything like that. It will make it here in time. If you do send something to the P.O. box, make sure you send me an email or message me somehow with a tracking number, or at least letting me know that you sent something there, because after it sits at the post office for 3 days, they'll just mail it back to you, and they will not let me know that there's anything there. So then we have the membership programs on the JeffMAC Live homepage. There is memberships for YouTube, Gilded, Discord, Odyssey, Rumble, and Twitch. And then once more, JeffMacLive.com has its own memberships that will give you access to our private social media area, the live streaming area with our own built-in chat. We have the ability to group chat with each other, video chat, audio chat, upload documents, upload sound bites, upload every form of media known to man, and there's no one hovering over us. I own the database, so it is truly free over on JeffMacLive.com. Go check it out. All right, hooligans. Give me a second to make sure everything's running smoothly. I'm going to help the YouTube platform itself out of the room so we can continue this live, showing content that's just a little bit too spicy for YouTube's community guidelines. Hopefully I see all of you on the free speech platforms.